I'm Katie Couric. The bulls have been riding high on Wall Street, but today they took one big fall. What rattled the markets and sent the Dow plunging more than 200. Murder in American cities, it's on the rise. Tonight, some solutions from the front line. And no crocodile tears for these critters.
Yeah, just a little one baby.
The comeback kids of the reptile world.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Hello, everyone. What goes up? Well, you know the rest. The high-flying stock market suddenly came back down to earth today. The Dow plunged more than 200 points, the sharpest drop in 4 months. But to put that in perspective, the Dow is still ahead more than 1,200 points, or 10% for the year, and still close to the all-time high it set last week. So what got the market rattled today? Anthony Mason is on Wall Street.
With the Dow's 200-point nosedive, one veteran trader said Wall Street was having a heart attack.
You can have a mild heart attack. I mean, this down 200 and some odd points on close to 2 billion shares is certainly an event.
The across-the-board sell-off was ignited by Countrywide Financial after the largest U.S. mortgage lender said delinquencies on its subprime loans had hit 24%. Even more shocking, delinquencies on its highest quality prime loans had more than doubled to 4.6%. Countrywide CEO said he now expects the housing slump to last at least until 2009. The tech sector also tumbled after AT&T reported weaker than expected orders for Apple's new iPhone. Apple stock fell more than $8, its worst one-day drop in 7 years.
Even with this slide, as you said, Katie, the Dow is still up 10% this year. So was this just a one-day correction? Well, it could take a few days to determine whether the market's just caught a 24-hour bug or something more serious.
Apparently, a lot of people think the social networking site MySpace is the place for sex offenders. Our justice correspondent Bob Orr is in Washington with more. Bob, MySpace agreed to police itself, and they got a real shock, didn't they?
Well, Katie, they certainly did. And also, we should say this is a problem that could alarm a number of parents, because a number of sex offenders using the social networking site MySpace apparently is much higher than we knew.
MySpace previously acknowledged 7,000 sex offenders, but now that number is said to be 29,000, more than 4 times as many. We're getting the new number from the North Carolina Attorney General, who's pushing for a law to protect children. He wants a bill that would require social networking websites like MySpace to get a parent's permission before children can post a profile. And the bill would ban registered sex offenders from using the sites.
All we're doing is giving parents the right to make a choice as to whether their young child goes onto one of these websites and talks to millions of strangers, many of whom are proven to be child predators.
A number of states, including Texas, have moved aggressively to round up suspected sex offenders known to be using the networking site. The company MySpace will not confirm any real numbers, but says it has already successfully identified and removed sex offenders from its site, which contains some 180 million profiles.
But we should say there is no real way to know exactly how big this problem might be. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children says there are more than 600,000 registered sex offenders in the U.S., and who knows how many might have access to internet sites. Katie?
And Bob, MySpace thought there were 8,000 registered sex offenders on the site. Now that number has grown to 29,000. So could there be even more?
Oh, of course there could be. The only people that so far have been removed from the site are people that either used their real names or people that used other identifying marks that connected to their real names. So if people are using aliases, Katie, we don't know who they are yet.
All right, Bob Orr in Washington tonight. On Capitol Hill today, Attorney General Alberto Gonzales ran into a buzzsaw of opposition when he testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Several senators questioned whether he told the truth about his role in the controversial firings of those U.S. attorneys.
What keeps you in the job, Mr. Attorney General?
That's a very good question, Senator. I've decided to stay and fix the problems. That's what I have been doing.
I don't know how you can say that you can help solve the problem. It appears to a lot of people that you, sir, are in fact the problem.
Gonzales also denied trying to force his predecessor, John Ashcroft, to recertify a controversial domestic eavesdropping program. Back in 2004, Ashcroft was in the hospital in intensive care at the time. Meanwhile, there was a dust-up today between the Clinton and Obama campaigns following last night's Democratic debate when Barack Obama said if elected, he'd be willing to meet unconditionally with the leaders of Iran, Syria, Venezuela, Cuba, and North Korea. Hillary Clinton said she would not.
Certainly, we're not going to just have our president meet with Fidel Castro and Hugo Chavez and, the president of North Korea, Iran, and Syria until we know better what the way forward would be.
Today, the Obama campaign said his position is tough and smart and charged that Clinton's stance put her in line with President Bush. Clinton said Obama's position is, quote, irresponsible and naive. One issue that came up in last night's debate was the federal minimum wage. It went up today for the first time in 10 years. It increased 70 cents to $5.85 an hour. There is much more CBS News ahead. What do you get when you take a large reptile and add nuclear power? Stand back, stay tuned. We'll show you. But up next, America's other war right here at home against rising crime. What experts say it will take to win in a moment. There was yet another fatal shooting in Philadelphia today, and that brought the number of murders in the city this year to 236. But it's not just Philadelphia. Homicides are up sharply in other big cities as well. Tonight, our national correspondent Byron Pitts focuses on solutions as he concludes his series, Battle Line Philadelphia.
This is North Philadelphia. We showed the Philadelphia story to 7 people from the front lines. Since the year 2001, there have been 10,000 shooting victims in Philadelphia. The head of the NRA.
It's tragic and horrible.
I believe that this is a war.
The Children's Defense Fund.
There is a war going on in this country.
A preacher, a police chief, an employer, all from different parts of the country.
It's about disparity. It's about this distance and a gulf that's ever widening between the haves and the have-nots.
Each with different perspectives on this modern-day problem of violence and illegal guns.
There's been no national effort to deal with this, with the guns and the availability of guns. Any reasonable measures that have been advocated have been defeated by Congress.
Either dead or in jail.
But while the adults saw and articulated what should be, it took 2 teenagers, former gangbangers from the south side of Chicago, to see these images.
Keep them off.
And as they say on the street, keep it real. Tell the truth.
You think he's saying that for no reason? He's saying that because he mean it, because he know how these streets is.
In their neighborhood sits a makeshift memorial to kids murdered in Chicago. 18-year-old Dominique said he's had at least 4 friends murdered. 17-year-old Tim says he's lost count.
It made me wonder why they gotta die at an early age. Just lets me know I could die anytime, seeing that.
We don't really got nobody who help us. Not at all.
We got some people, but it ain't enough people.
But this is America, the land of opportunity. You can help yourself. You can pull yourself up. No?
To me, them slogans and them little sayings, man, that ain't city of brotherly love, city of brotherly love in Philadelphia. Why so many people getting killed?
That's a simple enough question, and here's the answer. There is no simple answer. The blame and the solutions lie in many places.
Do you carry just sometimes, some never? Every day.
And so there's great debate about losing the war in Iraq. And clearly we're losing the war not only in Iraq, we're losing the war on American streets.
There's also some inherent racism. I can guarantee you that if 85% of the people in big cities were getting killed were white, there'd be a different approach to this whole thing.
Remember, that's a police chief talking.
Huh. They'd be screaming for more federal legislation. They'd be demanding it, and to hell with the NRA.
To hell with the people that want to sit on their butt and not find prosecutors, courtrooms, judges, and prison cells to take these people off the street to make these neighborhoods safe.
I would make sure that every child has a healthy start and a fair start in life. Every child needs a good education.
I can hear members of Congress saying now, that's awfully expensive, what you propose.
Oh, it's cheaper than emergency rooms. It's cheaper than a jail cell.
The choice is, do you leave them out there or do you find a prison cell?
It's not enough to tell kids to just say no to gangs. You also have to have society just say yes to these kids.
I'm gonna go back to church, try to better myself, get wise and know more about the Lord. so I can see his way of things. I already know my way of things. I want to hear what he got to say.
Whether it's a real faith or a real job, even real prison time, every kid we talk to welcomes something they could hold on to other than a gun. Byron Pitts, CBS News, Philadelphia.
For more on Byron's series, you can go to cbsnews.com and click on Battle Line Philadelphia. We'll be right back. President Bush appealed again today for more time for his Iraq strategy to work, but this time with a new rationale. Here's our chief White House correspondent, Jim Axelrod.
With Congress and the public expressing growing skepticism about long-term U.S. troop deployments in Iraq, President Bush's rationale is clearly shifting from policing sectarian violence to targeting al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda is public enemy number one for the Iraqi people. Al-Qaeda is public enemy number one for the American people.
Using newly declassified intelligence, the president linked al-Qaeda terrorists in Iraq directly to Osama bin Laden, rekindling memories of 9/11 in the process.
Fellow citizens, these people have sworn allegiance to the man who ordered the death of nearly 3,000 people on our soil.
But this is a clear contradiction of the January speech setting limits on U.S. involvement.
I have made it clear to the Prime Minister and Iraq's other leaders that America's commitment is not open-ended.
Now it is all about al-Qaeda and a new Pentagon plan to keep troops there, at least through 2009.
We must give General Petraeus and his troops the time and the resources they need so they can defeat al-Qaeda in Iraq.
Democrats pounced on the president.
The president is trying to scare the American people into believing that al-Qaeda is the rationale for continuing the war in Iraq.
Mr. Bush barely mentioned the Sunni Shiite violence U.S. troops constantly confront, using the phrase sectarian strife just twice in a half-hour speech, explaining why U.S. troops are in Iraq. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, the White House.
Meanwhile, representatives of the U.S. and Iran met today in Baghdad, their second meeting in 2 months. They agreed to set up a panel to study ways to stabilize Iraq. But the discussion grew heated when the U.S. ambassador accused Iran of arming and training Iraqi militias. The Iranians have denied that allegation. In Portugal today, a very close call. A building had just been evacuated after reports that the outside wall had started to crumble. Moments later, the entire building came down in a cloud of brown dust. Officials say the building was weakened 2 years ago when an attached house was demolished. Still ahead, they were near extinction, but now they're thriving in an unlikely place. We'll show you where the crocodiles really rock next. This next story falls under the category of feel-good news. Everyone loves a compliment, and these days they're coming from an unexpected source. In Washington, D.C., an artist is giving them out for free. He's put up a machine that dispenses random compliments to passersby.
You have a never-ending quest for knowledge.
Oh, that was good.
You are too cool for school.
The artist, Tim Greaves, hopes to put compliment boxes all over Washington, and we've ordered one for our studio. Not really. Finally tonight, the post office this week is issuing a new stamp honoring Spider-Man. He, of course, is the comic book hero who got his superpowers from a radioactive spider. Which brings us to our final story about some other creatures who have become newly empowered by an encounter with nuclear energy. Here's Kelly Kobiea.
This remote corner of southern Florida is crawling with crocodiles. You see them lurking in the brush and swimming in the swamps. It's the cradle of a crocodile baby boom.
We got him! You got him? Oh my!
For crocodile researcher Joe Wasilewski, that thing squirming in his hand is proof of a big-time comeback.
Tiny.
Yeah, just a little one, baby.
It's a 6-month-old American crocodile.
Oh my God.
With an undeserved reputation as a man-eater. The American crocodile is the alligator's shy, reclusive cousin, a species that 30 years ago was on the brink of extinction in the U.S. and until a few months ago and endangered species.
25.
25?
Yeah, and there's still some more in the pond.
It's the height of hatching season, and it's Joe's job to catch and catalog the hundreds of baby crocodiles that have come out of their shells. He's the crocodile caretaker at Turkey Point Nuclear Power Plant. Yes, you heard right. This nuclear power plant has become the main breeding ground for a giant lizard.
Like a Godzilla movie? Yeah, it could.
You could call it a nuclear accident. When Florida Power and Light built this plant, the company also created a cooling system for it. 169 linear miles of canals and soft berms.
I think what you'll find is that the environment that we've created here is actually conducive for the crocodiles. They've thrived in it.
The high ground is so ideal for laying crocodile eggs that Turkey Point has become an enormous crocodile nursery, now home to about 500 full-grown crocodiles, a quarter of the country's entire adult crocodile population.
Inside this bag are 16 crocodile hatchlings. They're all a day old. They all came from the same nest. And of these 16, once they're out in the wild, a year from now, only 1 or 2 will still be alive.
Everybody wants to eat them. Birds, fish, crustaceans, different crabs. Their worst enemy are the crocodiles.
Here, at least the man-made dangers are gone. No roads where crocodiles can be run over, no public access for would-be poachers, and no land for sale to developers.
The natural world can coexist with this power plant.
And thrive.
And thrive.
I mean, if he wants us to catch it, we'll catch it.
It's a crocodile paradise where you'd least expect it. Kelly Kobiella, CBS News, Turkey Point, Florida.
And that's the CBS Evening News. I'm Katie Couric. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.